What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. Only 2 episodes left after this one, Jay, and there's some hot ones. Everything's coming together very rapidly at this point in the final season of Stranger Things. But we are here to talk about it. Of course, 3 episodes left, including this one. A lot of stuff, a lot of chaos, a lot of very cool stuff happening. And I have already seen the final episode. I don't know if Jeremy has yet or not. But quite the ending. I will be interested to get Jeremy's thoughts on it when we get there. But he's managed to hold on. He's managed to hold his horses a little better than I have. I had to watch it. I was like, I can't be spoiled. I knew everything was going to come out. But yeah, we are here to talk about Stranger Things, season 5, episode 6, Escape from Cameltoe, or whatever the hell it is. Camatotz. Swear to God, what is it? Camatotz. Okay, Camatotz. I said that. Jesus. I said that yesterday when I walked out of the living room yesterday, and Jennifer and Keegan were watching one of the episodes. It's like, is this here from Cameltoe? And they were like, what? And I was like, it's just Freudian slip. I don't know. That's what it sounded like to me. I was reading it really fast.
I think you rented the wrong movie there, buddy. I don't think it's the same thing.
It's Stranger Things, but it's just a different thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, breaking down the last 3 episodes. That's all that's left of Stranger Things, the series. My son texted me yesterday. And he had the thumbnail about another episode of Stranger Things coming right up. I'm like, dude, it's a making of episode. These things used to be really popular back in the day, but they kind of died with physical media not being a thing anymore, really. But yeah, there's a couple of good ones out there. So yeah, it's a making of thing. I might watch it if I get around to it. I'm not really that excited for it. I mean, I've already seen a lot of the behind the scenes stuff over the years, so whatever. I mean, it happens how it happens. But I'll watch it eventually. But let's get right into it now. Obviously, this picks up seconds after the previous episode's cliffhanger ending, as the consequences of Nancy's shot ripple across the Upside Down, and we kind of ended up getting something like this because of it. Chapter 6, Escape from Camatotz, runs on parallel emergencies. One, the fragile stability of the wormhole Will's capture inside Vecna's mind, and Max and Holly's increasingly desperate attempt to find their way out. For the first time, the series actually reframes the Upside Down not as a place, but as a mechanism. And that distinction kind of changes everything. Let's start with that, Jeremy. We learned that the Upside Down is what none of us had thought it was, even the characters, for all these years. What do you think about that revelation, and how did it change the way you're watching the show?
Yeah, that does put interesting spin on it, that it's not necessarily how they explain it, like it's not necessarily a alternate dimension, right? Like a world mirroring our own, which I guess we kind of talked about that, right? We're like, well, how big is the Upside Down? Is it only confined to Hawkins? Is it like a literal just parallel universe to our own, or maybe to the Earth, or like again to the entire universe? But so now, and it's of course it's kind of the we're always the instruments of our own undoing, as it were. So of course it's a human-made thing, that it's now is it a portal, a wormhole of sorts, I suppose, to, I guess to another dimension. It's not it itself. So it's like, and I wonder if that shot, we'll get to it, but that shot where you finally see that little bit of it open up and it kind of just goes dead silent. It's almost like just space and time, probably. Yeah, no, there it is. The only, I haven't seen anything, so don't spoil anything, but like the only on-screen death I have seen so far is right there, and it's Steve's beamer.
R.I.P. Steve's beamer.
R.I.P. Steve's beamer. It has now bit the dust completely.
Yeah, that's for respect in the chat as it goes for the gamers.
That's the chat gamers. And that right there, that is one hell of a visual, almost like mushroom cloud like, which I know we're talking about Fallout in tandem with this show, but like, dear God, like that is just a weird, like, what is this space between spaces right here? This is just kind of just some interdimensional, crap going on around. Right. So I kind of wondered, I'm like, well, is that maybe what part of the wall is? Because that almost looks like the wall. Like that's just part of it coming up through. and it was stable, I guess, in some way until Nancy put a 12 gauge through it, and it kind of went kaboom, and upset the balance of it. But yeah, it's interesting. I was going somewhere with that. I'm like, it reminded me of something when the car, the beamer broke through the barrier. Oh, I wondered if it was kind of like when Elle pushed Henry through the wall through that portal. He kind of went into that weird, like he's floating through some sort of space, right? And maybe this was at that moment. What was the result of it, and what became what we know as the Upside Down? Because it all kind of stems from like what kind of started the whole thing in the first place. So yeah, we're playing with space and time and stuff, and there's a couple other Infinity Stones we haven't gotten to yet. But yeah, space and time. It'd be reality even. I don't know. We're we're a couple stones away from a snap. I'm just saying. Yeah, that's a wild revelation.
Yeah, I was, the upside down, the whole gravity engine not being a gravity engine as much as it is a center of a wormhole was kind of like, I don't really, I didn't like completely redefining what the upside down was over the course of like 2 episodes. Because for 5 years now, almost 5 full years now, we've been thinking the upside down was just a different dimension or whatever, and that's scary enough.
Yeah.
Making it a little too much science in my science fiction, I was kind of like, why are we getting into wormholes and Einstein Rosen bridges and things like that? Why is the upside down a gateway to what do they call it? The not the afterlife. What the hell am I thinking of? Oh, hell, I forget now. But the upside down is a gateway to something else, and I'm like, but I thought the upside down was the thing.
That was the place.
Why are we suddenly redefining everything that we know about what has been the crux of this whole situation for 5 years? I don't really understand that, but
yeah,
whatever. I mean, it ended up working out okay, especially for the visuals in the final episode. But I was kind of like, it seemed to me it was kind of like, it was a bit of an Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull move. One of the things I hate the most about that movie, and there's plenty to hate about that movie, is the fact that they redefined Indy's character without any warning. It's like all along we just kind of thought he was some archaeologist on adventures, when you find out that he's a super spy that's been on missions all over the years. And it's like,
well, he moonlights.
I was
guess,
like, why?
in his later years.
None of that was part of the Indiana Jones that you've built for us at that point over 25 years. I was like, why alter everything that we've been told up to now so rapidly? The reason why this one's not so bad, and I ended up kind of getting with it in the long run, is because it does make for a cooler ending. But I mean, really the only thing it changes is the color palette. Instead of being all dark and red, it's more, burnt yellow, dark yellow, not so dark kind of area that they end up in when they have to make the final battle. That's kind of the biggest difference. All that could have happened in the upside down. I don't understand why you'd waste any time trying to explain that. But I mean, scientifically it worked, but there was a little too much sci-fi in my sci-fi. The balance is a bit off. But I mean, also
the basis of the show, right? I mean,
the basis of the show is the basis of the show is the battle between good and evil. Now, where did they come from? The upside down. The upside down has always been the layer of the villain, and now all of a sudden that's not the layer, it's this other thing. And I was like, okay. I mean, it was cool and all, but it didn't make a difference to me. You know what I mean? I don't think it affected the outcome that much. Like I said, other than the fact that the place where we have the final battle is actually in a brighter location now. The sun has risen and upside down.
I haven't seen it, but
yeah, but that's and when you see it, you'll understand what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, we're gonna have this fight was coming, so why did we have to move it to the other side of a wormhole? I don't know. It was cool to see. It was a great visual. It didn't really affect the story much to me. You know what I mean?
Is it kind of like how, like, in the first 3, well, I'll say first and only 3 Matrix movies, right? You had that greenish kind of tint, because it's supposed to be looking at a computer screen. And then in that after the final confrontation between Smith and Neo, that color palette changes, right? It's like, is that kind of it's like a just tonal shift of this is the same? Well, it's a different Matrix, but now it's got these bright colors. It actually has a color palette, not just dreary, green and gray, whatnot. That's what I thought of just now. That might be what it sounds like to me. It's now it's a different different tone. We're on a different reality again. A new Matrix.
I don't know, maybe, but again, I don't think it was all in. It was cool visual, but important to the story. I don't think.
Oh,
So.
it was a terrifying visual. Yeah.
Yeah. BJ, hello. Always good to see you, dear. Dr. Nick's here saying, "I'll tell you what's a strange thing, Casey." Oh, for sure. And he says, "Let's do the time warp again." But you see, that's the thing. It's not a time warp. It's just a wormhole. So it's not time they're traveling through. It's a dimension, which is not what I thought wormholes was about. I don't really know. I'm not an astrophysicist.
I'm surprised he didn't say something about Casey's butt and being a wormhole and something.
I think we've kind of gotten away from that. I think in the last several months, the whole Casey inserts things in his butt has died. But whatever. Every joke has its time, and it'll make the occasional comeback here and there, and it'll be fun. But I think I was watching a couple weeks ago, and Alex was like, "Yeah, we just probably need to let this joke die now." it was getting a little tired. I mean, there's only so many things. Even Casey only put so many things up his butt, Nick said that was low hanging fruit. Yeah,
it is. I know.
But moving on
from the bountiful tree.
Yeah. Moving on to the next topic I wanted to bring up. I didn't organize my pictures the way I wanted to, and I'm
you sound like me.
Yeah, I know. I usually am better organized than this, but Will does. This episode does open up with Dustin racing up the stairs, shouting for Nancy and Jonathan to stop. The energy sphere. Nancy fires her weapon. I'm losing where I'm at reading now. The energy sphere Nancy fires at appears to be inert for a beat, then erupts in violent flashes of red and black. The blast sends a visible shockwave through the upside down, collapsing structures and destabilizing the environment as Hopper, Elle, and Callie watch from the other side. Dustin reaches Steve in a panic. He admits that he was wrong about what the upside down was to begin with. While searching the lab, he found those notes from Dr. Brenner. We talked about those, I think, in the last episode. That contradict everything that they assumed. Vecna did not create the wall. Science created the wall. The structure holding the upside down together is compromised of exotic matter. It is not a shield, but a containment system. Very different. As the sphere destabilizes, parts of the lab begin to melt. Jonathan and Nancy are knocked unconscious by the explosion. From the outside, the truth becomes very clear. The upside down is not a separate dimension. It is a wormhole, a bridge between worlds. And if it collapses, both worlds will go with it. I don't understand really. I mean, I guess I do, because how the hell is Nancy going to know? But I mean, seriously, Nancy just walks up there, and I've been calling her Sarah Connor. I've been calling her Sarah Connor Jr. for this entire series, this entire season, pretty much. But she just walks in there with the shotgun, and she's like, pew 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 pew, and that's it.
So I started blasting.
So I started blasting, and that's when this crazy shit starts to happen.
And that's when that had the shit above the lab exploded.
So the wall shattering. And we finally start to get this truth about the upside down. I mean, again, the visuals are pretty damn wild. What do you think of the visuals of all that, especially as things were really starting to pop off?
I mean, yeah, if there is something this has done well, is like I said, there have been some really cool visuals that we've seen and some terrifying ones. Like I said, that one, especially with Steve's beamer, where I'm like, you almost just feel like you're in this empty void of space and you're seeing this like just wormhole, that just like mushroom cloud of like a wormhole. I'm like, God, that's horrifying. If you saw that, because it's a thing that gives it some scale that you realize like how massive this is. And that's it's horrifying. I mean, it does open up, I guess, the question of what is on the other side? What's the rest of what's going on over there? Yeah, that I do like the I guess back on visuals. I do like the idea of the lab like melting, just like literally liquefying around them. Like it's just the fabric of all reality, and just all the matter just turns to goo, and just that's kind of it. It's just shrinking around them. So I've seen that again because my mind is a fountain of useless pop culture. It reminds me of an anime. It's true. It's an anime that was very similar, where it was like there was. I guess that it is actually very similar. There's the school. There's what as like this is like our right side up, so to speak, and then there is this alternate dimension of like it's the same place, but a different time period. It's a different plane of existence. It's a different school that used to be there. I guess it was real. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, Doctor Who crap. I have no idea. It hurts my head to think about. And if someone knows what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Corpse Party. And it's that there's different layers to this like reality, and it's like you don't exist there in the same time, so to speak. Like you'll walk by, like there's one episode where they walk by a hallway. It's dark in this school. You walk by and there's a candle, a single lit candle sitting on the ground. You're like what is that? Like that meant something, but it's like someone else, one of their other friends, lit that at some point to say like, oh, maybe if we light this, someone else will see it. They'll know we were here. So they don't exist there at the same time, but once they start like breaking this fabric of reality and figuring out, you know, what happened, there was a whole mystery behind it, a whole murder mystery thing, and the layers of that start to collapse, and this world starts to collapse down with it back up through like, yeah, it's going to come back up to the real world that we know, and you have to do a whole ritual to get in and out of it. But you know, and don't do it wrong, because you will come back without your body, and somebody. Everyone who was holding hands, one of them is holding one of your arms in each hand, and your body is gone. It was a gnarly ending. Yeah, that's what I wonder if this is. Like, is this like, since this is an in between, like what is on the other side of it, or is this like when Nancy shot that? Is it like now that's what's keeping it stable, and now it's starting to disrupt the whole fabric of this reality now? Which, as you know, why Dustin was crapping his pants, saying like, don't shoot it, don't touch it, don't guys. We don't know what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, very weird, but again, really cool visuals. I don't know if they needed a new visual or to kind of ratchet up the intensity. I figured, you know, the march towards the final battle with Vecna would have been enough. But we are back. I did notice that, and you'll see it more in the last episode, the spidery creature that was always kind of in the clouds. It's like everybody's always kind of wondered where that is, and that's kind of, it ends up kind of being, that's what this the other side of the wormhole ends up being, is just where that thing's been hiding out. So, you know, spoiler alert, but I mean, you've seen this thing before, so it's not like a big surprise, because this was at the end of season 1 or season 2. That was the final shot of the final episode of that season. Where it's like the lightning strikes and the thing is still like out there in the sky. So it's like you didn't know it was there. I guess they were just finally getting around to answering the question of where did this thing go. But whatever. I mean, like I said, it's
just like with Callie. Like, what happened to her? Oh, here she is.
No, yeah, here she is. She was attacked by the real Sarah Connor and captured. But whatever. But yeah, the picture that I went to mistakenly earlier is this one right here, where Will wakes up inside Vecna's control. Back at Hawkins, November 6th draws close. Will remains unresponsive, leaving Mike, Lucas, and Robin searching for answers. Robin pieces together what happened. Will likely saw Max and Holly inside Vecna's mind. If Max and Holly are unconscious, their minds are trapped there also. If they escape, Max returns to her body they'll finally understand Vecna's plan. Will suddenly wakes up, but not in Hawkins. He's actually spinning in the Upside Down by the tendrils. Henry appears to waste no time dismantling Will's confidence. He reminds him that this is not the first time that he's been used as a vessel. As a child, Will unknowingly help shape the tunnels through his dreams. Now Henry intends to use him again, this time as a tracker to locate Max, which I thought was pretty smart on Vecna's part. What do you think of this whole interaction between Will and Vecna? Because it seems like for all the shit that Will's been through over the course of this entire series, you were kind of hoping they'd take it easy on him the last season. But no, Vecna's going right after him again, because, again, it does all kind of start with him. What do you think of the confrontation between these two?
Yeah, I mean, he already has that connection with him, like you said, from the very beginning. So, I mean, why not just keep going back to him and using him? He probably thinks he's the most I mean, he tried it with Max a little bit, but now he's probably feeling like the next best choice right now. Someone that he can try and break. I'm assuming he kind of understands that Will does have some powers, because, I mean, that was pretty ballsy of Will, I will admit. When he gets, like, I mean, he's not in Vecna's face. He doesn't have a choice. He's right there. Being held up by Vecna's tendrils, but he gets in his face like, yeah, how'd you like that? How's your leg? I'm like, dude, you're not in a position to be talking smack to him right now. But I do like that Will's gotten that brave, though. He's just like, dude, I've been around, so either A, kill me and don't bore me, or B, let's do what we're gonna do. But I mean, we've done this dance for a while now, so I mean, let's just do what we're gonna do. like I said, I imagined it in my head exactly the way it played out on screen. Then I'm like, in that episode, I'm like, Vecna's gonna walk out there like he's fucking Darth Vader and just lay waste to everybody, like it's nothing, and he did. And in this, I'm like, man, just some of the dialogue and some of the power playing between each other. I'm like, this feels very like Return of the Jedi. This is like Luke going up again, like now for the second time. You know, when he's a little more, I'd say, experienced. I mean, I'm not saying like Will's like a Jedi, but I mean, Luke trained for what, like 3 days or so? I don't know. You know what I mean? And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go take on Vader," and then they're like, "Oh yeah, so by the way, you're a Jedi now." What? So you got to go, face him again. I'm like, sure. This feels like Return of the Jedi, and then like again, Vader's still trying to play these mind games and like power play him, and like that's what it feels like. And I like that. I like that dynamic. Like, that's what it feels like to me. I'm assuming he's using Will because he's again probably his next best choice. That he knows he's obviously got connections with all these people that he cares about, and the next vulnerable person would be Max, that's what he uses Will to find out where Max is now, because Max is still kind of in this in between. Now that he knows she's stuck in his mind too, in those memories with Holly, so. Yeah, he's using what he can at his disposal.
Well, look at Casey comes in with something positive instead of saying we're assholes. He hates us. What's up, guys? Hey, Casey, how you doing? Now he can say hi to you the nice way. He also says, "Let me ask you guys something. Frank, you think this series would strike my interest?" Well, you're a nerd, so yeah. I mean,
that's the bar.
Well, I mean, I don't even say that in a bad way. It's like you're a nerd the way we're nerds. So yeah, I think you're going to enjoy it. I mean, I would go ahead and start from the beginning, since you don't have to deal with 3 years between seasons and shit like that. You just go on Netflix and binge watch it all
in a row.
Maybe not in a week. Some of the episodes are pretty long, so it might take you a few weeks. But still, I mean, yeah, start from the beginning, especially if you're into pop culture the same way all of us are. So I mean, you're going to get a lot of the references, the Ghostbusters costumes in a couple seasons ago, and the D&D stuff. You're going to get a lot of references.
The future when it came out, yeah.
Yeah. I want to go back in time so I can find Hopper and be like, "Hey, dumbass!" when you find this little girl, just let her walk away. Save yourself a whole lot of headache.
Just don't do it, man.
Just don't do it. It's not worth the trouble. It's not worth the trouble. But let's see. Moving on to the next thing. I have to go back to my pictures now. I wanted to highlight Casey, since he actually said something nice. But I had a pitch. I thought I had a better pitch. This one will work. But Max and Holly regroup inside Camatotz. After narrowly escaping capture, Max and Holly retreat back to the cave. Max tries to steady Holly as Henry approaches. Injured but relentless, he calls for Holly to stop, claiming Max has poisoned her thoughts. When Holly pushes back, Henry threatens Max's life. Max calls him out, and he can't enter the cave. Henry retreats, warning that there are other ways to reach them inside the cave. Holly wants to move. Max believes Eleven sent the earlier message in, and assumes rescue is on the way. She urges that surviving long enough is their best option. Holly disagrees and thinks that Henry was not bluffing. Max finally explains her theory that Camatotz is built from Henry's memories. The cave exists because it represents something he refuses to confront. If that's true, then the way out might be hidden inside the memory itself. When Holly looks beyond the cave and realizes Max never explored the surrounding terrain, she insists on leaving, and Max reluctantly follows. I thought it was really cool to see these two together again. It was a fun little side adventure that they were on for this episode, but it did have a pretty important find while they were out there. What do you think of this interaction between the two of them? Because obviously Holly is, while not fully there yet, she doesn't really make it there until kind of towards the end of the show. The bravery that is signified by the lead figure that she's given to her by her brother is kind of slowly starting to come to the surface. She's kind of becoming that brave character. What do you think of that interaction? And when as you were watching this happen, did you think it was smart to go out there and look?
It's at least worth exploring, the possibility, because, and as we said, like Holly does have her own strengths where she does have that determinants to like go out there, and even kind of call Max out on it. She's like, "So did you look out there?" It's like, "Yeah, it goes on for miles." So that's a no. Like you didn't actually look out there, So yeah, it's a cool dynamic Max and Holly have, especially Holly being the newer and younger character. Because Max has been through some shit. She's seen some stuff, man. Seen some things. And I I do like that story that she tells about was it her uncle that did the metal detecting. Like, you never know until there might be one time you try and you try something you never even like thought of. Like that couldn't have been like the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth choice you had in your head. Like, which I'm glad because like for like the 18th damn time when I'm like, you never forget to take the damn cap off of the telescope. I'm like, the joke's starting to get a little old where she looks at you like, I'm so stupid. Takes it off. I'm like, okay. It's kind of funny. Every time she looks, stupid. I'm like, is there a point? Because there's a point because you keep doing it. Then she realizes, oh yeah, it's actually shaped like the mouth of the cave. So, now line it up. X marks a spot or M marks a spot in her case, whatever. And like they were saying that the logic would still maintain, like what Max was saying, that you go through the memories and there is kind of a trail of breadcrumbs that can lead you to essentially the exit. You get through all the memories, and then we're trying to figure out this one that would seem to be the biggest mystery, the thing that was stopping Henry in his tracks. And you think of all people, what would that be? Now, for a second, I thought, like, wait, is it Indiana Jones 3? Like, is that River Phoenix? What are we doing? All of a sudden, this little Boy Scout, little Boy Scout version of Henry. I'm not quite sure. I'm like, if there was more to it. I mean, it is kind of horrifying. I don't know what this is like. Was he a mob guy? Was he paranoid, or was he a criminal? Did he rob a bank? I don't know what. Clutching on to. Does that get explained? Because he's clutching onto this briefcase for dear life, and he's about to shoot this kid. And to be fair, I mean, yeah, Henry cracks him in the head with a rock and beats him until he dies. I'm like, yeah, well, that's traumatic for a kid. That's fair.
That scene plays out in longer form in the last episode.
Okay,
but
I figured there's more to it, yeah.
But it does explain more. But the purpose of that scene in this final season was to set up spin-off stuff where they're going to talk about that case, how that guy got it. Because the Duffer Brothers did say in the last week or so since the last episode came out, that case, what is in it, and you'll get a better view of it in the last episode, that what was in that case is going to be a big part of what the spinoff is going to be about. Because when this series does end, when the final episode of season 5 is done, there is a little thing out there as to like, what was that? And normally you just kind of leave it there, but if they're actually going to go back to a different area of time and tell a different part of the story about what happened to create it, maybe. I don't know what this spinoff's going to be about. All they've said is that it's not going to
things.
Well, it's not. All they've said is that it's not going to take place in Hawkins. It's not going to have any of the original characters. That all these people are. It's going to be all new people and everything. But it's going to explain where the thing that is in that case comes from. So that's all it kind of. Okay. That's all they've really said about it. So it's in TV they used to call it not necessarily. They used to call it a backdoor pilot.
Right. There's a.
So you would have like a thing, a MacGuffin or person would show up in an episode of a big TV show, and then that would be the way that they introduced the people to that character so that they can start his show 6 months later. So it's kind of like that.
So, like, of all people, when I watch Suicide Squad, you're like, hey, you know who's going to get a spinoff? John Cena. I'm like, I would have never nor would I ever have suggested it.
Yeah.
However.
Yeah, but,
sure.
Whatever. But, I thought it was lost where I was in my notes for a second. That's the kind of foreshadowing that I would have picked out a long time ago. At first, I just thought it was something quirky about her character. But I didn't realize until about the time that she was making the discovery. I was like, why is it like a very specific kind of crack in that cover?
Yeah,
and then I figured out right about the time she did. I was like, oh, because I hadn't gotten a close look at it. All I saw was that it was cracked. I just thought it was the cover. Yeah. And then when she looked through it the first time, I was like, wait a minute, that's the shape of the mouth of the cave. I mean, we talked about it a couple episodes ago. It's the M-shaped cave. That's very famous in real life for lots of reasons. Somebody went looking for it, then disappeared. They found this person's cell phone, backpack, and shoes, and never found the person. So who the hell knows? But nobody can identify where that M-shaped cave was. But yeah, so at first I was just like, oh, why didn't I see that foreshadowing? Because like you said, she was always fiddling with that or forgetting to take off the lens cap and then looking through it.
Yeah.
she finally figured it out. And then, of course, well, we'll talk about her finding the mine later on. But let's see. 11 does continue searching for Will as tensions obviously rise. Let's see. Hopper, Elle, and Callie reunite with Joyce and Mike at the Squawk. There were some finally some reunions after really all of this entire season. Most people have been kind of separated between the Upside Down and the Right Side Up. Joyce immediately asks 11 to find Will. While 11 focuses, Hopper confronts Callie Ford, distracting her earlier. Callie stands her ground against Hopper, which I thought was a very interesting scene. Killing Henry will not end this. She says the system that created him is still alive. Elle returns with grim news that she cannot find Will. Hopper suggests using the tank to amplify her reach. And as preparations begin, Joyce breaks down. It was her idea to let Will take the risk in the first place. She's feeling every attempt to protect him has only caused him more harm. Hopper reassures her. Parenting, he says, is living with the certainty that every choice will feel wrong in hindsight. Meanwhile, Mike and Elle argue quietly. Mike wants to believe there's an ending where they disappear together and leave this behind. This is one of the first seeds, real seeds about how things are probably going to end. 11 reminds him that Henry's blood is in her, and as long as she exists, others can be created. Mike insists they face it together. That conversation ends kind of unresolved, but in this whole sequence, there is a lot of reuniting that happens. Obviously, Elle has been in the Upside Down since the second episode of the season. She's caught back up with Mike, and Hopper and Joyce reconnect in that moment. But there's a whole lot of exposition that's going on right then and there. What do you think about everything that we were given in that scene?
I do like that we go right from, the world, the Upside Down rather, collapsing on itself to, oh, hey, we're going to casually stroll up in a fucking hearse. Like, just, hey, guys. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm glad we didn't get to see any of that. Sure, you all just showed up here. It was a little jarring because I'm just like, oh, we're just here now. Okay, cool. Moving on. Like, great, yay, happy times. Okay, happy for you all. I don't know. The thing with Jesus. There's Hopper. there's our boy.
Between Hopper and Joyce, that was kind of a nice scene. Again, it's funny how it kind of flipped on its head a little bit, because remember, like, Hopper was, as he said, he's like, I was being overprotective, and Joyce is the one that kind of helped him. Like, hey, like, maybe if you sit down and just talk it out, talk with them, and just be like, let's just we'll all be on the same level here. And it even kind of like the conversation kind of turned around a little bit, where Joyce is just now kind of in an emotion of feeling like she did everything wrong. And I'm like, I'm sure Hopper can agree. He probably feels like, yeah, I might be doing things wrong, or it feels that way. And just tells you, like, hey, it's fine. Like, you did what you thought was right. And you're just, you love your child. We know that. Like, just reassuring her, like, it's all good. It's not like, when he's like, it's not on you. It's not on you, Joyce. Like, it's fine. The scene between Callie and Hopper, I'm like, man, I get a little heated. I mean, if you saw that picture of dude, I don't know if that's a guy I would be toe-toeing with his beard and his little trucker hat. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think I'd be throwing words or hands with Hopper. Regardless, I still am trying to figure out, like, what her deal is, what her angle is, and I don't know. Maybe it's just something about her. I'm like, you just kind of annoy me. I kind of want to punch in the face. I'm sure Hopper does too, probably, but I'm still trying to figure out what her angle is, because when she said, it seemed important to me when she said, I'm here to make sure this doesn't happen again. I'm like, make sure what happens again? What? Okay, bye. Next scene. Huh? What do you mean? Make sure what doesn't happen? Like, I don't know. If she's still supposed to be on their side, I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping she's going to come into play here soon. Because, I mean, well, it's granted she does have this kind of cockiness to her that I'm like, yeah, I know you're on the side of the people that have, powers, and you've, also seen some shit. I don't know. It's an interesting dynamic, but yeah. Now we're trying to find Will, because poor Will's eyes are bleeding out of his skull, as we just saw. he's also going through it, man. He's struggling against Vecna. Because Vecna's on the move now, or at least the Demodogs are. They're after Max. Get that fun scene between Robin and Vicky.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, I don't think Callie has to be afraid of Hopper. She can, wave her hands
No.
and then throw him through a wall, and she can deal with Hopper. The interesting thing is that he's got this fatherly, boss-like demeanor about him for this entire show, and nobody, including Elle, has really looked at him as anything other than like the one in charge. I mean, even with Elle and all her powers, it's like everybody's always been kind of doing what Hopper says. This is the first time in this entire series, in all 5 seasons, that he's ever really been challenged on that level. So he says, I'm going to do this because this is the right thing, because I think this is right. And most of the time, like I said, everybody just kind of like, bends the knee to him. And Callie's like, hey, wait a minute. There's something that I know that you don't. So I'm going to tell you why you're crazy fucking wrong. And I think even on Hopper's face, and I think that he does a good job in the moment of showing this in his face. He realizes that in that moment he is getting some information that he didn't have before. That he's coming to that realization that this ending is not going to be as clean as he wants it to be. Maybe not necessarily in his head that Elle has to die or that anybody has to die, but I think he knows in that moment that there's a whole lot more to this than even he knew after 5 years of dealing with demigorgons and Vecnas and all that shit. That there was still so much more here that was coming. And I thought that scene was very, very interesting, because who was really going to stand up to him other than Callie? I mean, even Elle, for the most part, kind of not cowers to him, but she looks at him as a father figure rather than somebody who, I don't want to say beneath her, because I don't think it's the way the character would see it. Just somebody who isn't in the know the way she is. And Callie's the one person involved in all of this at this point to look at him and be like, hey, dude, you're fucking wrong. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you how this is really going to go. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But let's see, where else was I going to go with my notes? That was pretty much it. But, again, a great scene, a little bit of exposition, not a lot, but they do some planning later on. Now, obviously, the heavy emotional weight of this episode was, damn it, I wish I would have fucking organized these pictures better. The first one was Steve and Dustin.
Yeah.
They finally, that's the first one. They finally have their moment. They finally get with it. They finally get on the same page with one another. In the lab, Steve and Dustin search for a signal while the exotic matter continues to destabilize the entire structure. Above them, the sphere flickers through a hole in the ceiling, that great shot that I showed earlier. Dustin urges Steve not to push closer, his voice breaking as he admits that he can't handle losing another friend. The fear lands. The two have their reconciliation without needing really to say a whole lot. I thought that part of this scene was very well done. They've already kind of got rough with each other in the last episode. They threw hands a little bit out of frustration. So we had that. Now we have this moment where they finally come to the realization together that their friendship means more to them than either one of them has ever really known how to say. So finally, after a whole season of them really not being like Dustin, I said it from the very beginning, his character arc in this season is going to be the most interesting because of everything that he's been through. He's been, I mean, Will has been through stuff, but I mean, the only other person who's been through the same kind of shit as Will is Dustin. And he was really broken in the first episode. I was really surprised right out of the gate with what he was giving us. What do you think of us finally, after 5.5 episodes, finally getting to this point where Dustin and Steve finally get on the same page with one another emotionally?
Yeah, that was this was the part that actually got me emotional. That scene there, that actually started to get to me. Because again, I mean, mainly through Dustin, it's like we know Steve's a little older. He's probably a little more mature than Dustin. He's still in high school. It's like, so it's even when they're throwing hands, like we talked about, like he's not trying to like hurt him. He doesn't want to actually start like punching at Dustin. He's just letting him wail on him. He's just kind of letting him get it out because he kind of understands. Even when he's like putting him in holds, and he's like, "Stop, dude! Just please stop!" Like he doesn't want to sit here and actually fight him, but he's like, "We're gonna play this out." I think it's just getting Dustin just finally got to that point where he kind of broke, and that's where he ended up, and that's why I love that. Like when he finally Steve just kind of gives him the hug, like just lets him again, like when you let him fight it out, you let him just kind of cry it out a little bit, let him have his moment, and that's what kind of got me because I'm like, where he's pulling it from, like Dustin, he's drawing that from the fact that he lost Eddie, and he's like, I can't lose, because it's almost like he was saying it to Eddie. He's like, I can't lose you again. I can't I can't do this. Like, I'm not going to lose you too. The whole, when they said before, like, if you die, I die. That's just how it is. It's like it's getting to a point of like desperation. Like, Steve's going to try and put this ladder between like two parts of a staircase that are melting away actively before your eyes. Like, and he's like, dude, like, quit being stupid. Think about it for a second. He's like, I know what our motivation here is, but damn it, you got to think about it. Because I mean, what? 2 seconds later, the ladder falls through the stairs and drops down about 5 stories. Like, damn. Yeah, that got me. I think it's twofold that it needed to happen. Like I said, they were gonna have it out, fist fighting, and then he's just gonna break down emotionally. It's like, damn, that now we're finally back. We're on the same page.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. It's like, because this whole thing between these two, it surrounds Eddie's death.
Yeah.
Obviously Dustin is affected because he was friends with Eddie and he lost Eddie in the heat of battle. And I feel like Steve is frustrated at Eddie's death as well, not because he was particularly close to Eddie, because of the effect it had on Dustin. And him and Dustin are friends. So when you see your friend go through something very emotional and very tough, you feel it as well, even though your only connection is through that person who's been affected. And I feel like both of them, still being the characters, still being young, they don't really know how to process their role in this hurt. And that's been the main point of conflict between these two all season long. Yeah, because it's Steve earlier in the season, like when Dustin finally rolls back up on his bike, and they're just like, "What the hell happened to you? Where have you been?" He goes, "Oh, I fell off my bike." And Steve's like, "You're full of shit, dude." Like, you already knows, like, yeah, dude. you don't get worked like this and have the facial bruises and cuts and shit by going over your handlebars. I mean, you got into some shit and it didn't work out as well as you thought it would. You lipped off to the wrong person. But he never actually says it out. Yeah, he never really says it out loud until like, was it this episode or the last episode where they're having their little back and forth. It's like Steve sees this, but he also doesn't know how to help him hurt. You know what I mean? He doesn't know how to hurt with him. It's like Steve also being still kind of young. I mean, what is he, like 21 or something like that?
Early 20s, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, he still doesn't quite know how to deal with all this. So it was nice to see that finally kind of come to a close, that chapter of this, and for Dustin to finally feel focused about everything he's doing, because he has been way off his game this entire season.
Yeah, and that's what he opens up with, where he admits to Steve, like, "Look, dude, I was wrong. I was dead fucking wrong. I was not, you dropped the ball." It's like, this wasn't not something he probably expected to. I don't know how he expected to know that that's what the Upside Down was, but like, just the theory of like him still, because he's always the one who's the smart one, but he's like, damn, I got this completely wrong. Like, none of us even really knew what this was. He's kind of beating himself up a little bit. They didn't like catch it. I'm like, well, you don't know everything, man. But I mean, I guess that's the lesson in the end.
And then, of course, the other big one that was way more drawn out, way more, a whole lot more dialogue going into this, was Jonathan and Nancy. Obviously, they're both knocked down after falling through the melting roof. Jonathan regained consciousness first. He wakes up Nancy as the walls around them soften and sag. The door handle melts in his hand as they try to get out, trapping them as the room begins to flood with whatever goop. With no escape obvious, they finally start to talk. They admit to their lives, half-truths and decisions made out of fear rather than certainty. Jonathan reveals the cassette tape and the engagement ring that he once planned to give Nancy. Instead of proposing, he asked her not to marry him. Nancy agrees and let the relationship go. She makes it clear that she's not falling for Steve again, which she actually made clear, I think, probably 2 episodes before that, explaining that they want different things and are no longer moving in the same direction. Moments later, the melting stops. The danger pauses. Everything hardens for some reason. They're still trapped, but they are alive, which is a good thing. Jay, I mean, this was the other one that we were kind of waiting to come to a head. We had already kind of heard some things from the Duffer Brothers about how this relationship was going to, what condition this relationship was going to be at the end. But what did you think of them finally coming to terms with exactly who they are as people?
That's a cool shot. It does. I mean, it might take a life-threatening or traumatic event to bring that out. When you really think, I mean, that's going to be the end. So they just kind of let it out, and they're not like being malevolent with each other. They're not just they're still kind of poking at her like they're still like they're friends. Like, you know, she's like, I hate the Clash, and I was kind of like, yeah, Nancy, really? Come on. I was like, I'll let John have that one. Like, come on, that's rude. And she's a dick for throwing his weed in the toilet. I'm like, come on, that's strike 2, Nancy. Jesus.
You're like, come on, Nancy, come on.
She's like, I threw away your bit of the purple haze, whatever the hell it was called, and I was like, Nancy, that's a dick move. I don't know about that one. Yeah, it's just the it's kind of like the same thing in a different light, like we said with Dustin and Steve. It's like they kind of had it out in a different way. It's like same with Jonathan and Nancy. They just kind of had to let it all air out with each other. And that's kind of just what it took. It's like, just rapid fire, back and forth. Like, you know, I hate this about you. I don't like this about you. Hey, this is not so bad, but this is what I want, or this is what happened here. And of course, we know the whole, like, the plot point that I was kind of waiting to be resolved was like, I'm like, you straight up lied to her in the first place, John. Like, when you said you didn't apply to the college that you said you did. So it's like they kind of already know it, but it's like now we all know it's all out in the open air. The truth is. So, I guess in any way, that's kind of, the best way that could have happened. I was a little I don't know. Maybe I was just kind of confused by the moment because I'm like, why are we so happy and we're not engaged? We're not engaged. We're broken up. What are we doing? I know we're happy we're alive, but what? I don't know. I was confused. I look over and Rachel sitting there crying. I was like, well, yeah, I was emotional as hell, but I was like, I heard her sniffling. I'm like, you good? Like, yeah. It was some heavy shit, but I don't know. Like I said, Dustin made me cry, so I don't know. Whatever. What do I know? That scene's what got me between Dustin and Steve. But because again, getting how do you say his name? Gaten Matrazo, Matarazzo. God damn, Matarazzo. That kid can act, man. He, like I said, he just acted the shit out of that scene. Like I said, you got me in my feels, man. So good job. Maybe it's because I also kind of. I'm with you there with Eddie. I got you. It still hurts.
Yeah, when he even dresses like him and ends this every episode like this.
I told you. Yeah, man. It's hey, hold on. It's right here in my pocket. Boom. Right there. Got it on me.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Rachel may have just said it best right here. It was a very romantic breakup.
It's weird and it was different, so I'll give it that. It's interesting to do that.
Like, of all the relationships in this show, it's like the one that I was really pulling for was these two. It's kind of unfortunate that it ended the way it did. Yeah. However, there is that moment of relief where it's like it's not working well for either of us, but neither of us hate each other. So it's like you don't break up kicking and screaming and all that. It's like you're just like, look, when you respect someone and still have to part ways with them, there's something a bit more peaceful about it. You almost
they had to be ill will towards each other.
You almost do leave the situation feeling better about than you did when you were still in it, because you feel free of the negativity, but you're holding on to the positive stuff. So I kind of get it. But like I said, of all the relationships in this series, like that was the one I really wanted to work out because it seemed so far-fetched in the beginning. Well, little nerd boy in his camera and popular cheerleader girl or whatever. It's like you don't expect them to get together, but they end up together, and then only to be kind of not to be broken up because of personal differences, but because this whole situation has changed everybody in such a dramatic way that it does kind of change your DNA a little bit. It changes your personalities, changes everything. But yeah, I mean, I got that they couldn't stay together. I got the way it all happened. But like I said, this was the one relationship that I was hoping would really kind of last, and it didn't.
I've also been pulling for Hopper and Joyce, but there's still hope.
There's still hope. Hope.
We got there, I guess.
I won't spoil anything for you, but
don't tell me that.
No, I'm not saying
it's bad. No.
You say that now that makes me think. Oh wait, something else is also in that.
Because it goes down to the way it ends for all the characters, and that's why I say that. I don't want to get too much into it because we haven't seen the last episode yet. But it's like the way it ends. It's like some of it is very poetic. It's very understandable. Some of it is kind of like meh. I don't really get it, but I mean, it was like I said, I can't go too much into it without spoiling a bunch of shit.
I'll get there.
I'll get there, yeah. But now let's talk about this new path out of Camatotz, or Camatotz. I'm never going to pronounce this shit right. Camatotz. In the desert, Max and Holly search aimlessly until Holly studies the looking glass. She realizes the shape on the of the cave opening matches the crack that is on the lens cap that she's been fiddling with for this entire season. Is actually a map of sorts, straight out of the Goonies playbook. I don't know if you caught that the way I did. As they follow it back, the ground collapses between Holly's feet. Max grabs her just in time, and they discover a tunnel leading to an old mine shaft hidden below. At the same time, Henry uses Will's connection to locate Max's hospital room. Eleven finally reaches Will through the tank and pulls him free. Reunited, Will warns them Vecna plans to kill Max in the real world. Inside the mine, Max and Holly witness a memory from Henry's childhood. A frightened man clutches a briefcase, panics, and shoots at Henry, shooting him in the hand. Henry responds with brutal violence, killing the man with a rock. The moment reveals the trauma anchoring in the cave. Henry opens the briefcase the man was carrying, but its contents are never shown. Not in this episode, anyway. However, it is established in the stage play Stranger Things The First Shadow, the briefcase is associated with the device that transports Henry to Dimension X and permanently alters his blood. Max clears rubble and as music begins to echo, they break through into the Red Realm where Max nearly escaped before. And of course, she certainly will in this episode. But I don't know, there's a whole lot that happens in this sequence right here. Let's start with the guy in the cave. This gets explained a little more later on. I thought I had a picture of him as well, but let me see if I can find it. Apparently, I do not. How did I not get a picture of that? But yeah, shit goes on in the cave, and again, it's just a taste of what kind of brings Henry into the evil realm. But what did you think of that whole of what they witnessed in there? Henry coming across whatever the hell this was that is his first step into the darkness.
It definitely brings up some new questions. It was, I guess, I think Holly said it. Yeah, there you go. Wrestling with this guy who just, shot a child. Like, damn, dude. Yeah, who is this guy? What's he doing? What's his deal? Of all people, he came across Henry, so it's obviously important. But I think Holly brings it up that she was like, was this like why he became evil? It's like, that's definitely, I don't know. I'm not gonna try and play devil's advocate. Then I'm like, I don't know, maybe in the rage and the adrenaline of the moment, and the fact that you did just get, essentially you just got assaulted by this dude. He shot you in the hand, and it just takes over, and you don't realize you're not, in a mindset to like stop. So he just, beat this guy to death with a rock. So I don't know. That is pretty damn traumatic for a kid. He's probably what, 10-ish in that time. So yeah, I'm sure it has a little more to offer, but of course, you got to watch the other series, and we got to start doing homework for fucking Stranger Things now. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun for me. God damn it. So it's intriguing. I figured there was more to it than just that, because I'm like, in terms of, I'm like, okay, that was the thing that happened. I'm sure there's more to it. I'm like, but we don't get to see that, of course, which kind of sucks. But we gotta keep doing the Kate Bush thing. So I think we're contractually obligated to keep showing and listening to the same 3 lines of the Kate Bush song. And I want to also note that I want to strangle Robin for putting all those records together like that. Like, Robin, I know you're making a point. Yeah, there it is. There it is. I was like, Robin, I know you're making a point here, and it's everybody's song, because Kate Bush is Max, Tiffany was Holly, and I think she pulled up the Clash for Will, right? So I'm like, yeah, should I stay or should I go? And then you're sitting here just like putting them together like an animal. I'm like, you work at a radio station. You know better. Is there a way you could have done that without doing that? Damn.
There's a fun little musical conversation that Holly and Max have in the last episode that's going to remind you of a lot of conversations we've had over the years about music.
Oh, God.
It kind of happens, not in the background, but it's like they're doing a thing for the final episode, for the whole final battle, and as they're getting it all set up, Robin's bitching about the record that he chose. He's like, dude, what are you talking about? Talking about that. Who was talking about? Butthole Surfers, I think, was the band he was talking about. And she was like, dude, that band sucks. He was like, no, this band's awesome. And they kind of have one of those conversations like you and I have had a million times.
Are we having another where she's freaking out like through the cassette tapes, like Beatles, Blondie, Bowie, we need music. We need Eddie again. This is music.
Something like that, yeah. not nearly as intense reaction as Eddie gave us, but yeah.
Well, that's fair though.
But yeah, I love that first hint. Again, you do get a more of an explanation as to what's in that cave and why that memory is important. But later on in the series, later on, actually it's in the final episode, I think, is when you really get the explanation of it and some visuals as to what's in the case. But yeah, I thought this was really important because I don't want to use that term because it is kind of a spoiler, but you do start to see where, like, him becoming the evil Henry, like he was definitely a victim of this whole thing, the same way that Will was, the same way, sort of, that Elle and Callie and other people were. The same way that a lot of these people have been victims of this whole terrible situation. He is also a victim of this, but his reaction is what makes it different. Because there is a conversation that happens between Will and Henry in the last episode that it really explains all that. And like I said, I don't want to go too much into spoilers, but it is one of the better conversations. Not very long, but I've said it a million times. What Sirius Black says in Harry Potter: we were all born as both light and dark inside us. It's how what we choose to act on. It was one of those moments for Henry, and he doesn't just make his choice.
I guess that's fair.
Sort of explains why, not so much, but he just says, "I chose this. This is my choice." Blah blah blah. But that conversation is pretty good.
To be fair, we haven't really seen the blanks filled in between, like, from when he was a kid and where that lines up with the whole, like, hey, there's demons and I killed my family and blamed it on my dad, on Freddy Krueger, to, like, where we see him as the orderly in the program when he met 11. So,
like, we haven't quite seen, like, what the in between was there between that time period. So
yeah, fill in some blanks, that would be kind of nice. Like, I see what you're saying. It's basically like you were given these moments and you had a choice, and this is the path you chose to go down. So yeah, that's what probably makes it. That's the distinction. Is like, oh, well, you didn't have to beat a man's face in with a rock, but you did. Regardless if he shot you. I don't know.
Well, and that's only part of it too, because it was like, if somebody's trying to shoot at me and I can bash him in the head with a rock, damn right I'm going to do it. It doesn't necessarily.
That's what I was saying. I'm like,
you from that point on. Yeah. You put anybody, especially a kid, in a position like that, you're a terrible person. But whatever.
Right.
Tex is joining us in the chat. He says that Jonathan is a filthy commie. He's glad Rambo broke up with him. Not Rambo. Sarah Connor Jr. Not Rambo. Sarah Connor Jr. But I have some thoughts on Linda Hamilton in this too, especially as the show comes to an end. But let's see. Moving on to the final part. Let's see. Find the right picture for this. I haven't used that picture yet. One of the better images of the series.
There we go.
At the hospital, demi-dogs have arrived to finish off Max. Robin uses the intercom to warn Lucas, giving him time to grab Max and flee. This is the shot that I said that we had gotten in the original trailers we hadn't seen yet. Cornered in the laundry room, they are saved when, of all people, Karen Wheeler, who got up out of her bed, Ma Wheeler throws an oxygen tank in a dryer. And when the demi-dogs go there and investigate the noise, of course, the oxygen tank explodes, killing the creatures in one fell swoop. Inside the Red Realm, Max sees Lucas holding her body as a portal opens. Max stops. She then tells Holly she cannot come with her. The portal only leads to Max's body. Holly must find her own connection to the real world. Max reminds her that music is not the only anchor. Holly dismisses her action figure as childish, but Max reframes it for her. Holly followed the map. She never gave up. She faced Henry when she was terrified. The courage that is embodied in that figure is real. A second portal opens, showing Holly her way out. Max gives Holly instructions: hide in the upside down version of her house, stay alive, help is coming. They hug and then run in opposite directions as the episode ends. A pretty exciting ending to this episode, and again, every episode seems to end on a cliffhanger when you're at this point in the series because it's all coming to a climax anyway. But what do you think about that whole sequence of Mama Wheeler playing, being the hero that we needed just at the right moment? Where's the picture of Mama Wheeler coming out of the smoke? I know I have it. I forgot to get it. There you go.
God, I hope
Mama Wheeler coming out of the smoke looking all grizzled. I was like, you get him, Mama Wheeler.
You didn't come here to play, man. Damn.
What did you Yeah, again, just a very exciting, very intense, very full sequence right here to end this episode. What did you think of it all?
Well, like I said, we know where Nancy gets it from, obviously. So,
damn. I think sometimes I've been like, because Eleven gets out of that tub real quick, and then they're like, we need to go to the hospital right now. Like, they're after Max. And I don't know if they probably know that Lucas is there at least, but yeah, like we need to move. And actually that scene, I'm like, wow, I've also seen Jurassic Park. Have you? Like,
I think that the Duffer Brothers even said they had kind of modeled that scene after Jurassic Park.
It's a classic. Yeah, that's a classic setup. We've seen it done before. I'm not mad. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, like have your moment. That's funny.
And it's in those moments where I'm like, this is the time right now. Will 11, one of you needs to run in there and just like,
kill that damn dog.
We did see Karen wake up, and then I was kind of like, oh wait a minute, and she sees the oxygen tanks. I'm like, well, she knows the fire tricks, so yeah. I guess for D&D terms, she didn't care how big the room was. She cast fireball and she fucking won. That was awesome. At least of all people, that was a cool heroic moment. I'll take a step back. I think I know we want to have this sweet moment between Max and Holly, but I'm like, guys, get out! Goddamn, why we don't have time for this shit. Well, if you do, not as long as you did. I'm like, aren't you like in a hurry, in danger? Damn, dude, you almost nearly escaped last time. Max, you don't remember that? Shit.
Oh my god! And I'm like, cool. I know we got to build Holly up, and we got to get her. I'm like, she did bring up a good point. Max is like, well, this goes to my body, it doesn't go to you. I'm like, oh yeah, what would happen? You don't want that. You go through the wrong portal, you end up somewhere else. But then it just shows her, I guess, assuming in the Upside Down, which is I'm guessing where Vecna might be hiding them to, imprison them in his mind. So I'm like, well, wait, what's she supposed to do? She's just gonna go back to wherever her body is, still in the tendrils, and she's still hung up there, Max. Sure. She's gonna become Holly the heroic, whatever, and bust out of there, and like she said, just hide in your house in the Upside Down, since we'll figure a way out to get you out of there. And again, we gotta keep beating Kate Bush to death and cliffhanger it, because of course we do. But yeah, I was like maybe a little drawn out the thing between Max and Holly, but because I'm like, the urgency, guys, get out, Jesus, I don't care. I'd be breaknecking it towards that damn portal. Like, get out. Damn. So.
But you need the dramatic build-up, though,
I know, but I was sitting here the whole time like, I've seen a show. I'm like, damn it, Vecna's going to come busting through that bitch and just grab you guys again. So, he might be more preoccupied with other things at the moment. I don't know. I feel like Vecna. I feel like you're dropping the ball there, buddy. I feel like that little red room you got going on might be a place you really want to, maybe have the security, because that seems to be the exit door. So you're kind of slipping there, but yeah, whatever, semantics.
Yeah, a bunch of teenage nerds are figuring out ways to screw with you. Maybe you want to go ahead and
like a powerful dark wizard. You're getting punked by a bunch of teenagers. Yeah.
Put a demigod out there or something like that. Somebody on the radio saying, "Hey, come get these kids."
They're going to the exit. Got them.
Yeah, that whole sequence is exciting as hell. I was kind of on the edge of my seat watching that whole thing. For one, it was like, I thought it was funny because, and even Vicky ends up becoming kind of an important character in this whole. I was
gonna say, well, Vicky, because you can believe her now.
Yeah, because Vicky grabs Robin as they're going in, as her and Lucas are trying to go into to protect, grab, escape with Max. But she ends up getting cornered by Vicky, who's like, "Hey, so about these drugs you stole and so on and so on."
Yeah, the cops
She's
are
trying to
after
tell her
you.
the truth, but of course she thinks that she's high on drugs, just like everybody would have thought at the time, which I don't blame her. And then, of course, the demi dogs attack, and that's when Vicky kind of sees that she's not high on whatever the hell she was stealing. And not only that, but she ends up being the one who's kind of like who comes to the rescue at the moment of need with the phone. She's like, they don't speak English. They're not going to hear what you're saying, right? So she just goes to the intercom and says, hey, get Max and get out. They're coming for you. And this is after almost getting caught by the military, too, which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like, yeah, you got.
So you're running to the military and the dogs.
I had the same look on my face as Robin does right there. I'm like, guys, really? Right now? I'm like, man, you're going to get your face chewed off by a demodog, and I'm not going to feel bad for you when it does happen. So, come up and...
But yeah, that whole explosion scene in there with Mama Wheeler, I was like, holy hell. Nice little...
right.
Mike ended up being there, too, at one point, right? As I recall. I haven't seen the episode in about a week or so.
Mike's important, isn't he? I think, right?
Yeah, somewhere.
They keep putting him on the visuals. Like when you opened up this episode, it was like Mike, 11, and Will. I'm like, is Mike relevant now? Why is he like just plastered the three of them on the advertisement?
And still, in this episode, you know who didn't get up to help? Papa Wheeler, Daddy Wheeler.
I was like, yeah. I was like, damn it, dude, come on.
You get to see him one more time. I'm going to spoil this for you because it's hilarious.
Thank God.
You get to see him one more time for this entire series.
Old Ted Wheeler. I'm here for
it. Ted Wheeler. No love at all for this guy. It's unfair. Justice for Ted. Justice for Ted Wheeler. Let's start that hashtag on Twix right now. Guys. Justice for Ted Wheeler. He deserved a better ending than that. And a little, maybe not so much heroicism, but like he doesn't even have another line for the rest of the series. I'm like, come on, give Ted some love. He worked really hard. I know. He worked really hard to support that wife that was going to fuck around with Billy when he was the pool boy. Come on, show the guy some love.
Like we know that Karen Wheeler busted that wine bottle, stabbed a Demogorgon in the face. I'm like, don't forget, Ted walked in there and had smacked it with a fucking golf club. Man, he was ready to swing too. So.
Yeah, Mama Wheeler wasn't playing by herself. She had help.
Yeah,
Ted got jacked up too. But
they both did.
Yeah, and of course that's where the episode ends. Is with supposedly both of them running through their respective portals to get back to their bodies. Again, Jeremy, a lot in this episode answers a couple of questions, answers a lot, asks a lot more, but that's kind of the way it builds up to the very end. What do you think of this episode overall, and what do you expect from the next episode?
That's a cool shot of Holly. Also, yeah, I figured. I'm sorry. Now I see it because I'm like, oh, hey, I was doing that once. The little Boy Scout handkerchief around her neck. I was like, hey, that's cool. Oh, I didn't realize that was important. You see Henry as a Boy Scout. I'm like, oh, this is important. Okay, I see where we're going. No, yeah, good episode. Yeah, I've seen Jurassic Park a few times. So, literally. Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. That scene. I mean, there was some intense stuff in this scene. Not only, like we said, just from action to emotion. There was a lot in this episode. It was pretty deep. So, but yeah, a lot more questions, a lot more things. We're setting up the pieces. Like I keep saying, we're setting up pieces here. We're getting the gang together. Now we're getting. I'm assuming Max, at least back. Holly's kind of in a weird limbo, but we're kind of all together now. Now we got to make that big final plan and take a swing at Vecna, I guess. Or whatever we do. Roll for initiative, and that's what we're gonna do, I suppose. See how this goes. Yeah, those three god awful words. Tony.
But yeah, again, an exciting episode. Like I said, I can't say what I expect of the next episode because I've seen them all. But you are going to get some answers. They are going to ask the final questions and set everything up for the final run and the final episode.
Ever just open and close a goddamn story.
Well, see, that's the thing about a show like this is after 5 seasons, there's not a lot of exposition.
It's a cultural phenomenon. I get it.
So you can kind of get. It's like Marvel. I mean, look at the way that like Endgame and Infinity War started. There was no exposition. There was no nothing. It's like, you know where these people were at the end of the last movie. Just get right to it. Why waste time reintroducing the world? Get right to it. We're I mean, for Marvel anyway, 212 movies and 75 years into this whole thing.
Yeah.
Let's just get right to it. We don't need to explain to you who Iron Man is. You know by now. So here's the movie. Let's go. It allows you to pack in so much more story, so much more excitement. I think it's kind of the same thing for this season. It's like we know who the players are. We know who the good guys are. We know who the bad guys are. We know what the playing field looks like. Let's just go to it. And that's kind of where things start in this season, which I thought was pretty cool. And that's definitely where the last 3 or 4 episodes, that's just kind of how each episode is. It's just like a cliffhanger from the last ones, hit the ground running and go. And then crazy shit at the end, go to the next episode, hit the ground running and just go. That's one of the things that made the last 3 or 4 episodes so exciting, because there's so much to do. And as the time gets more and more limited, it just feels like it's going at more of a breakneck pace. And that's why when it's all said and done, you just take a deep breath. You're like, holy shit. But yeah, good episode. Escape from Camatotz. And I'm going to call it that now just for shits and giggles. So I think it sounds funny.
No.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to what's next. Let's see. Again, we're getting down to the end of this whole thing, man. And it's I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the final episode, because it's interesting, because there's one thing that really annoys me. There's several things that I was happy about, but there's also a good epilogue, like a Lord of the Rings style epilogue at the end of the episode. You know what I'm talking
there's
about.
like 15 different endings. No, I know.
No, not different endings, but it explains kind of how everybody, all the survivors, were affected. Kind of what they carry forward from there, and then of course the last few minutes is something that it's going to be. I have a feeling the last like 5 or 10 minutes of the episode is going to be something that we're going to talk a lot about. let's just say that, because there's I'm not even going to use the word that I've been using for other people that have seen it. We talk about it. I'm not going to use that word because that word might spoil things a little bit. But let's see. Tech says I lost it right here. It didn't show up on there. That's all right. Anyway, Tech says, I'll be on the finale review for this shit show. My pulpit is prepared. Season 5 is ass. I disagree. I think season 5 was solid. I've got my gripes, and I'm not going to go into them right now. I'm going to save that for after we review them all, and we'll deal with them when we deal with episode 8. But I've got my gripes. There's one that stands out a lot. There's a few smaller ones that I'm not so mad about. Ultimately, though, I think this entire season was a win. But I would have done a few things differently. But we'll figure it out. We'll talk about that more as we get to the last episode. Jay, my good man, where can the folks know find you, sir?
I'm here Tuesday and Thursday. We're double fisting Stranger Things and Fallout. So we're bringing the apocalypse back around to you on Thursday. So I know we're a week behind, but whatever. Holidays and crap, and we're supposed to be watching Stranger Things, and we have more important things to do, like be with family. So whatever, screw me.
But
right?
you know what? It's good. It's good. I like the way that we've done the Stranger Things stuff. We've slow rolled it instead of watching them all and doing like a 3-hour long thing. I like that we've nursed this a little bit and enjoyed it along the way. I like that we're able to do that for both this show and for Fallout, because I think it allows us both to kind of enjoy them a lot more. Well, so even though we're a week behind, I don't really care. I'm slow rolling.
No. To be fair, at least Fallout is actually. My point is, what Fallout's actually doing the right thing by releasing it weekly, because it gives you that time to savor it and kind of think about it until next week. Because Netflix doesn't know how to fucking release it. And they're like, here you go, here's everything, forever. There you go, have fun.
Yeah.
And everyone and their mother watches it in like one goddamn day, and it's like, I don't know how you do it. I mean, like, just because that's the thing. I'm like, you and me know how to watch TV, because that's how it used to be. You just come back every week and you watch a new episode. That's simmer, and then you just get back into it. I don't know. It is kind of dumb. I don't like that model. You also kill Blockbuster. I'm never going to forgive you for that. But anyway, Netflix, thanks for the show. It's been great.
Yeah, one of the things I worry about this Netflix buying Warner Brothers deal is Serranos, the guy that owns, or the CEO of Netflix, has already said that they're only going to give like a 14 or 21 day theatrical window to stuff before it ends up on Netflix. And we're not talking about small movies. We're talking about they're going to have control over DC. They're going to have control over Harry Potter, like that, the whole Harry Potter world, all this stuff. So I'm just like, whatever.
Well, HBO is doing the new Harry Potter series, but whatever. I don't know. Everyone owns somebody in some fucking fashion. So
I don't know, man. With any luck, somebody else buys Warner Brothers and they come in and say, I'll put money on it. I got $20 I can throw at it if somebody else wants to go in and buy Warner Brothers, so Netflix doesn't hold it.
Sure.
Yeah, terrible. But we will be back here. We will be back here to go over. I forget the name of the episode. I don't have it in front of me, but it's the something that starts with a P. I forget what it's called. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing on Thursday. It's the next episode 3 of this season of Fallout. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It was a good episode, a fun episode, really a ghoul-heavy episode. I don't know if you've seen it yet, Jay, but there's a
No, I've not. But
there's a lot. There's a lot about his background and some of the things that his motivation and the whole thing. Lucy gets herself in a little bit of trouble. See a little bit more emotion out of the ghoul. Like he's starting to question. Maybe not starting to question himself. It's just the memories are starting to get to him a little bit. But yeah, we find out a little bit more about his background when he was still Howard and not Howard. What was his name? Not Clint Howard. It's Cooper. Yeah, Cooper Howard. When he was still Cooper Howard before the bombs fell and everything changed, and get a little more background on him. But yeah, it was a good episode. Not crazy full of stuff, but full of significant things. Especially the end of the episode. The end of the episode is something pretty wild. I think you're going to get a kick out of watching that. But
I'll bring my notes.
Yeah, I've already got notes. I've already started. So
I've got somewhere over there. I'm sure I've got the game guide for like Fallout 4, Fallout 3. I could just slap them on this table and be like, all right, so if Wall flipped the page, 394.
The omnibus. If you turn to chapter 87 in your books, we'll talk about Maximus and why he did what he did. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that on Thursday. Fallout, both Fallout and Stranger Things have been great to talk about lately. They've both been very exciting. Fallout as well. Fallout definitely. Again, it picked up right where season 2 left off, so they hit the ground running as well. But we will be back here on Thursday. Yep, Vault-Tec, right there. There's the omnibus that we were talking about. But yeah, we will see you guys back here on Thursday to break down Fallout Season 3. Till next time. Adios. I mean, Casey, you fit the whole upside down up his butt. Good night, BJ.
Nah. There it is.
This could be a picture of Casey's butt, come to think of it. You never know.
Oh, so you put beamers in there.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Put a beamer in his butt. Yeah, whatever.
Where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, it's really time for that joke to die. Anyway.
Yeah.
I gave you your pew pew, Alex. You happy? Pew pew, pew pew. I'll explain in a minute. Bye, everybody.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.